It's just simple. I don't want my sister at my wedding. And that's the bottom line because I say so. I do not want my sister to be at my wedding. Everyone says I'm paranoid and acting like a bridezilla, but I feel like she's trying to live out her wedding through me. I've always waited too long to get into a stable relationship, and just when I want to commit to the person I fell in love with, she wants to control how everything looks. I know that she's been planning her own wedding for over 5 years, so she feels that she's a veteran in planning stuff, but I don't want the same things as she does at my wedding, and we faced quite the trouble since I told her that I was getting married a year ago. She pretends to be happy, but I know she's just jealous. It's funny how the tables have turned. Imogen is my older sister. She's 32, and she got engaged 5 years ago. Despite being only a year older than me, she's always been several years ahead of me in terms of love and career. She met her Prince Charming while in college, and he proposed several years later. We planned for a wedding that, well, never came. I and her friends have tried to tell her that he'll not marry her, but she's so delusional and would rather just lie to herself. Her fiancé, Kane, has been playing her for so long. She funds him while he plans to launch a business that we all know is going to happen never. He uses her money to impress other women and she simply doesn't see it. He has even asked a few of her friends out, but when people tell her, she does not want to listen. He has made several excuses just so they can postpone the wedding. Well, honestly, she's in love, but he's not the one for her. But alas, we have warned her more than once, more than we can count. But she simply doesn't listen. She hates failing more than anything, a trait she's had since childhood. Because of that, she's had it in her head that I could never have more than she has. Constantly bragging about how great her life is and how in love she and Kane are. Before I met Nigel, she was always giving me the hell about me being single, scaring me that I was going to grow old without any kids or ever getting married. Just because she had a child with Kane, she felt like she's made it in life and I would never catch up. Oh, but then I met Nigel 2 years ago and within a year he proposed. As soon as I announced it, she was bombarding me, telling me that she knew all the best planners and wanted to help me choose my dress. I had no choice but to include her in my wedding party because after all, she is my sister. But I've had it up to here with her. She wants me to have a big expensive wedding when I just want something classy with a few friends and close family. She's criticized my dress, preferring that I should have one that looks like the one she'll wear at the wedding. Well, I appreciate that she's trying to help, but I cannot breathe with her in my ear all day, telling me what I can and cannot do. Well, it's 2 weeks before my wedding, and we had a big fight. Now, I don't want her to come to my wedding. I was at her house, and I was just signing off on some things. That was when she asked if she could do something at my wedding. So I asked what it was, and that's when she told me that Kane's birthday is the day before my wedding. She said she'll not be with him all day because of my bachelorette party. I was about to tell her that she can miss the party if she wants to. After all, Kane is her fiancé. But what she asked me, well, to be honest, it absolutely shocked me. She asked if she could please have a part of the ceremony to wish Kane a happy birthday. I asked what she meant by that, but she said that since she's pretty much planning the wedding, she was wondering if she could just bake a cake for Kane, turn my wedding into a birthday right after our vows. I asked her if she could not do that the day before or even after my wedding. I'm excited about my special day and super emotional as well. I snapped at her and told her not to even dare bring up his birthday at my wedding because it's my day. I continued that she did not plan my whole wedding. She was giving me the scraps from her 5-year planning. She told me that my relationship would not even last since I failed at the relationships in the past. She said that at least she and Kane had a real connection and a child to prove it. I responded by telling her that even then, he still cheats on her and will marry her. Never? Then I told her that she should not come to my wedding. Of course, she ran to mom and dad like the child she is. Not only that, but she started talking crap about me to some of the cousins. I found out everything she said and said that if she comes to my wedding, I'll sort her out. And would you believe it? Everyone thinks that I'm in the wrong here and I'm the one that needs to apologize. Apologize, my foot! She tried to insult my wedding day by turning it into something that's all about her, like always. I can't believe that I even let her near my wedding planning. Bottom line is that everyone's pressuring me to let her come to the wedding, so I should or should not let her come after all the stuff she's done. Please drop your comments down below. Hey guys, Mr. Reddito here. I hope you're all enjoying the story so far. So this Bridezilla scenario is far from over. I'm gonna let you know the next update is the largest one, and there's some things that really go down. But after that, we have about 4 or 5 mini updates. You're not gonna want to miss the last update of those. Well, because things take a turn. Click that subscribe button if you want to help support the channel, and check out my other channels down below in the description. Let's see what's been going on at this wedding venue. Today's been the worst day of my life. It started out as the happiest day, the day I'd get married to my love Nigel. I was so excited to walk down that aisle and see him waiting for me. I had my vows ready to promise to be with him forever, in front of family and mine. Not even knowing that my sister was going to attend put me off. Nothing could ruin my mood. Last night, I went to bed early, much to the dismay of all my bridesmaids. Even though I did go to bed early, I didn't fall asleep until the early hours of the morning. Something that Jessica, my maid of honor, was complaining about. I've known Jessica since high school, and I believe that she was the most loyal friend I had. This was why she and my makeup artist were the only ones allowed access to me that day. I'd made the decision because, well, I simply don't trust my sister. She was only part of my wedding because the family stepped in and made us both apologize for what we said to each other. Coming from a huge family, it has its perks, but having everyone know your business and having something to say is not the best. I kid you not. There was a literal meeting where we were given a chance to say what happened, then they decided. I could not go against them. If I did, then they would just not come to my wedding. I would have hated for that to happen, so I waited the decision. They did say, though, that she cannot have Kane's birthday at the wedding, which was good. But they also said that what I said to her was rude and uncalled for. Therefore, I was forced to apologize. Well, I did apologize, and they said that I had to have her at my wedding, whether I liked it or not. After that, she came to speak to me and apologized for the way that she had gone about stuff. I was amazed at her change in character, and for once, she listened to what I said. She understood that it was my wedding. I also felt bad for what I said, no matter how true it might be. It wasn't my place to make comments on someone else's relationship. In the hectic days leading up to this day, she has been so helpful, running errands that no one else wanted to do. This is so strange just because, before this, she was more dominant. So, let's get back to my wedding day. I woke up on a semi-cloudy day in my room. Jessica and my makeup artist took their time getting me ready. I felt so beautiful by the end of the day, and all the priming and prodding. Afterward, we got into the vintage car I rented specifically for this. It was my homage to my grandfather, who used to be such a big fan of those cars, and he was still alive. When we got to the venue, I was shaking, even though I had no reason to be nervous. I'm just a very nervous person, and the thought that so many people would be looking at me honestly freaked me out. I did not notice that anything was amiss while going in because of how I was feeling, but when I walked into that empty hall, I was stunned. I thought that it was a bad dream, and I tried to pull myself out of it like I do with all bad dreams, but it was not a bad dream. It was real. The chairs were empty, the decor was not there, and there was a lady standing up front, talking on the phone. When she saw me, she frowned as if she's just seen a lion enter the room. She asked, how could she help me? But then I could not speak. My mouth was dry. So Jessica spoke for me, asking about the wedding that was going to take place. The lady asked if we were not lost because there's no wedding that had been planned here. I started to feel very faint, and I started to cry. Already I was emotional. This was not what I wanted to hear. But Jessica was oddly calm as she asked to speak to the manager. She went off while the lady offered me water and a place to sit. Where was everyone? This didn't make sense at all. I took out my phone to ask everyone where they were, but I realized that I'd not seen my phone since yesterday. I was having a serious panic attack, and the lady did not know what to do. Thankfully, Jessica came back a moment later and told me that we have to go. The wedding venue changed. By whom? Where is it now? And why am I the last person to find out? Those are the questions I was asking her, but she didn't have answers. We got into the car where she gave directions, and when I got there, I saw familiar cars, which was when I realized the outside my original venue. I didn't recognize the cars because I was so stressed. As soon as I go out, so many people surrounded me and started asking me questions about where I was and why I changed the wedding to this barn. I'm not joking. All my guests were in a freaking barn. When they saw me, everyone had relief but confusion on their face. I thought, don't worry, even I'm as confused as all of you. Well, worst of all was seeing Nigel in the corner, calling and dropping the phone. When he saw me, he dropped the phone and started asking a million questions. There was clear confusion from everyone, with whom thinking I was a runaway bride with cold feet. It appears that 2 days before the wedding, quote, I sent a message telling everyone that the venue changed, and I was getting married at the barn. I'd been having trouble with my phone for days, but I never made an assumption. The only explanation was that I was hacked. Well, Nigel then told me that everyone knew about this, even Jessica. That is when I was like, wait, Jessica? And then I saw my sister standing looking smug as hell. It was her. Of course it was her. She would never allow me to be happy for once in my life, so she decided to do this to me, with the help of Jessica. Without even thinking, I had Jessica by the sleeve of her dress, asking her how she could betray me like that. Everyone tried to get me away from her, but not before I could get my nails skin deep into her. I know I left marks like a puma. I pretended to calm down so that they would leave me. They were not ready for when I threw that bouquet of flowers at my sister's face. I wanted to rearrange her face, but when they got me away from her, liquid fire was running through my bones and I wanted her gone. I knew it was her. There's no one else who would be so heartless as to do this to me. It was supposed to be my special day, but she ruined it because she's this petty. Not only that, but she hacked and even stole my phone so that I would not know. And trust me, there was a very easy way to prove that. I wanted to make her suffer, beg for mercy right there, but instead, my mom was trying to comfort me and tell me that I could still get married. Married? How? Everything's ruined. The decor, the cake, the venue, everything looked like crap. All my guests were never going to forget this. The smelly barn was not where I wanted my wedding to be. Well, in the end, I could not stop crying. Somewhere along the lines, Jessica and Imogen left. I was mad, but when I found out, still very angry with them. I couldn't believe that anyone wanted me to remain calm after this. We spent months and thousands of dollars on that wedding, only for it to be ruined by a petty woman like her. How would she have felt if something did this to her at her own wedding? Nah, my sister's a spoiled brat who's never had to face the consequences of her actions. I've forgiven her for a lot of stuff, but I'll not forget her up until this day. She pays dearly. If you've not already guessed, I refuse to get married. Luckily, Nigel understood that I need my own space to process it. I spoke to Mom, and she says that she'll support me in whatever I do, but that I should consider that maybe it was a problem with the venue and not my sister. Well, tomorrow I'm going back to the venue, and I'll find out what happened. I do not plan on letting this happen like this. And then there's the matter of my so-called best friend, Jessica. I know that she helped her because Jessica was the only one who got me to the wrong venue, yet she apparently got the message. I also do not get why no one bothered to ask me why I would do that. If I found out that she's been getting help from more than one person, well, I hope Nigel will not mind marrying an inmate. I've not seen him since then. I think we both need space after the horror show of a wedding. I've tried to sleep, but I keep on seeing what happened every time I close my eyes. I see her smug expression as she realizes that she has won. She's ruined what should have been the best day of my life. She was supposed to be my sister. We came from the same womb. How could she do this? Anyways, let me try to get some sleep. I have a feeling tomorrow is going to be a long day. Next update, several days after the wedding. Well, it's several days after the wedding, and there's been some drama. I went to the venue to ask about who canceled the wedding, as well as about the refund. They said that the person who canceled said she was me. This was pure negligence from them. I look nothing like her. She's dark, and I'm fair. How could they mistaken us like that? When I asked if maybe they've been bribed by her so that they would not say anything, that's when the excuses started coming out, flowing like water. I really did not have time to listen to someone begging me not to report her to the manager. I needed answers as to who came here. Sure enough, my name was on the visitor log, and of course the handwriting wasn't mine. I quickly snapped a picture, then asked them if I could get security footage. Of course, they wanted a warrant for that, so I said I'd be back. The barn was not very helpful. The owners were just offered a lot of money to throw a wedding in that barn, and they accepted, without another thought. I got to the receipts and all the information that they could provide, and then I called my lawyer, lodging a complaint against her. By the end of the day, she'd gotten her summons, and after the venue was forced to give the security footage, instead of apologizing and admitting what she's done, she decided to further act as if she was innocent in all this. She and Jessica start spreading lies about me. They said that I was broke. That's why I'm having a wedding at a barn. I wonder how I'll ever get out of this. Everyone knows what happened, and they're all laughing at me. No matter what anyone says, it's coming back to me, and it just doesn't feel good. What's worse is that most people are taking her side, blaming me for being unorganized, which is just simply not true at all. Poor Nigel has had to face so much embarrassment because of me. And you know what? I don't even know if we're going to get married at all. His mom has barely tolerated me thus far, is using this as an opportunity to turn him against me. Well, she's not a total witch, but she cares too much about status and reputation, and this reflects badly on her. We had a fight tonight about it. He wants me to let this go and let us start planning another wedding, but with what money? It'll take us at least another year before we can save enough for a wedding again. She will have one. She's not taking the fact that I'm filing a case against her seriously at all. Just an hour ago, I got a message from one of my friends. It was an invitation to her wedding. And to top it off, it was at my dream venue, with a similar theme to mine. Clearly, that's a dig towards me. She's trying to assert dominance because for once, she was not the first to do anything. But you know what? She can wear my wedding dress if she wants, but the man she's getting married to isn't loyal to her. Do you guys think I should let it go, as Nigel suggested? Or put her in her place for once? She's been bullying me too much. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. I still have a few more updates. The next update that we're going to look at is actually an intervention from the family. Yeah, things are starting to get absolutely crazy. I hope you're enjoying. Here's the next few updates. So, the family decided to do an intervention. Despite all the proof I have, they think I'm blaming her to ruin her reputation. I was given an ultimatum on this. They want me to drop the case because it's embarrassing for the family. They think I caused enough of a scene at my wedding. Therefore, I should lay low and get married next year. I could not say anything against them out of respect, but Nigel surprised me. He was in the other room as he was not a family yet. He told them that he could not listen to them make me feel small like that. He didn't care about pressing charges against her, but he knew it was important to me. And then he looked at my sister, who was sitting there looking like she felt good about herself. He told her that he was going to make sure she paid for making me cry on my wedding day. You must be wondering why the sudden change of heart? Well, Nigel has a very soft spot for me, as I do for him. We can argue in private, but in public we'll always put in a united front. He really wants me to be careful about what I do next, but will still support me. Trust me, I'll sue her for the very clothes off her back. Actions have consequences, and she must learn. Next update. So, I decided to go against my family and sue her for ruining my wedding. I had all the evidence needed, even though she had everyone convinced that I was making all this up and she was innocent. I didn't falter. I had a very good lawyer and I remained committed. It was draining, I'm not going to lie. Most days I would come home and feel like staying in my room all day. My family was on the wrong side of the courtroom. The people who stood by me were my friends and Nigel, as well as his sister. His mom stopped trying to make me quit a long time ago. Instead, she's offered much legal support as she can, since she knows many good lawyers. She spoke to me when Nigel changed his mind. She told me to make sure that I won so that our reputation of a family could be salvaged. I realized that she was not the villain. Oh no, she was just trying to protect her son. Well, guess who won the case and got offered compensation for the emotional trauma, as well as the financial implications of what she did? My lawyer had her backed into a corner, and since she could not keep her story straight, it was easy to get her to confess. She had to issue a very public apology to both of us, as well as pay us for having another wedding. This time, she'll not be invited. Many people will not be invited. Only those that supported me are going to be a part of the wedding. Mom and Dad remain neutral and tried to bring peace to us so that at least I'll not have to walk down the aisle alone. You should have seen the look on her face when the judge told her she had to pay both the legal fees as well for my wedding. She cried, saying that the only money she had was the money she saved for her wedding. Oh, how ironic. So I'll be getting married soon and she'll be nowhere near me. Now to set a date. Next update is titled, You Will Never Believe What Happened. Karma's a gift that keeps on giving, so I thought it was all over. That Nigel and I would get married and I was not going to focus on my sister's wedding. Well, I took the win, knowing that I was not going to get any genuine apology from her, but at least now we would get married in peace. Nigel and I only took 2 weeks to plan our wedding. Only Mom, his mom, and sister helped me to plan it. We did not let anyone else know, and we made it a day before my sister's wedding. I didn't even think about it until Irene, my sister-in-law, pointed it out. Guess I'll still be going to get married before her. Well, we had a beautiful ceremony, with only the people that mattered, and afterward we went on our honeymoon. We decided to shut off all our devices for the duration of the honeymoon, and we all had what we needed at the resort. For a whole week and a half, I had no stress. All I felt was happiness that we managed to become one. When we departed that resort, that was when we had a stable internet connection and decided to turn our phone on. Well, they might as well have been trying to blow up, 'cause the messages we had was just so much. Between people asking how the honeymoon was, to others asking me how I felt about my sister not getting married. I was shocked because her wedding day was right after mine, and she made sure that everyone knew it. But turns out, the night before the wedding, Imogen caught Jessica, the one who helped her ruin my wedding, in bed with Cain. That was hardly surprising. Everyone knew Cain was unfaithful, but she did not want to admit it. Jessica appeared to be a very jealous friend, showing her true colors. What did Imogen do? What did Imogen even think? That's a friend she made while destroying her sister's life was a true friend. So that led to a huge fight between the both of them, which was caught on camera. Luckily, the people in this town love gossip so much that I was sent several copies of said video. From every single angle. Well, Imogen beat Jessica up pretty bad while Kane tried to get her off. Imogen then shouted something to him that sounded like, "Get out of my sight, I'ma deal with you next." She was like a rabid animal, scratching, biting Jessica. I checked the timestamp and noticed that it happened while we were still in the air. How I wish I would have been there to see that in person. So, obviously the wedding was canceled. She dumped Kane, but we'll see for how long. He's not a good man. He makes her fight over women while he's in the wrong, and she takes him back every single time. Which is why he still does that to her. I feel sorry for her poor child who has to have this such dysfunctional lifestyle with the parents. In the grand scheme of things, it's like she's disappeared off the face of the earth. But I've only just gotten home. I'll see how this unfolds. Update 1 month later. It's been a month since Imogen's disastrous wedding that made her eat humble pie. She's not been the same ever since she was even trying texting me and getting close to me. But I don't want anything to do with her. She was complaining about Jessica, who, surprise, is dating Kane. But I was not into it all. Jessica might have been a close friend, but friends can betray you. Blood is not supposed to. I'm so interested in mending things with her. I forgave her long before she apologized, but I still don't need her in my life. All my life, she's been a bit of a bully. She always had more friends, prettier, got more dates, earned more money, and, well, had a perfect life. And, well, she made me feel bad about myself all the time. The one time I'm ahead of her, she decides that she'll do the evilest thing. Now she's alone, and she's fallen into the bad habit of drinking. Mom took her child after she visits her and saw the child crying her lungs out because of hunger. So now Mom and Dad are taking care of the baby, while she's drinking and partying her life away. If I was her, I would consider getting serious help after all I've done. Last and final update. Well, she lost her job due to drinking at work. Mom had to be the one to fetch her, and turns out it's not her first offense. While I don't want anything to do with Imogen, I do feel sorry for her child. It's because of that I've decided to pay for her to go for treatment. She needs serious help, otherwise she'll never get out of this. Though I resent her, I do feel pain when I see her. I don't know what snapped this time, why it was that particular time she caught him. She decided that enough was enough. As for him, he's still cruising from woman to woman. His so-called business cannot survive without her pumping cash into it once in a while. All that wealth he showed off that attracted women is starting to fade. I do hope that when he comes crawling back, for I know he will, she'll not take him back. Tomorrow, Mom's dropping her off to go get some professional help that she desperately needs. After she comes back, we can start from then. This also gives me time to work through how I feel about this. But despite that bit of damper on things, marriage life is treating me well. We're already planning to have a family and buy our own home. So excited to see what the future has in store for us. Thank you so much for listening to my journey. I mean, there was just countless evidence against OP's sister. I don't even understand why the heck this person thought that they were going to get away with it. I mean, she had to have known that her sister was going to open up some sort of dispute against her and get the police involved for the legal matter. I'm just glad that karma was here to strike. Because ruining somebody's special day, especially someone that's in your family and related by blood, I mean, come on. She moved the entire wedding to a barn. I don't even know how she was able to pull that off without tipping off OP. Let me know your thoughts about everything that transpired in this story. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in with me. I really appreciate each and every one of you. You guys always give me massive support. Always drop comments, always share your stories, and I really appreciate that. Thanks again, guys. Have an amazing day, and I hope to see you in the next Bridezilla Wild Ride.